There are more than 1 million Canadians who work minimum wage jobs. More than 1 million. That's 8% of Canada's salaried employees. I mean, think about that for a minute. Maybe try to imagine making your own life work on minimum wage. But here's the thing about imagination and statistics. They only get you so far. You know when you really start to understand minimum wage? When you meet the people. That's why I've come here to St. Francis Table. It's a restaurant for the poor. You pay $1, you get a meal. What's remarkable is it used to be pretty much only homeless people and people on social assistance who ate here. But nowadays, people on minimum wage come here too. The first person I meet is Yusdel Amaro. He's not just one of the cooks here. He tells me he's one of the working poor himself, and that he needs more than one job to make ends meet.
Handling 3 jobs or 2 jobs at a time for years, it just takes a lot of time out of you, and it's tough. It's tough. A lot of time goes by on just paying bills. For years and years and years, I worked 7 days a week. It was up till recently that I just decided for $100 or $200 on a paycheck, I needed a day off, you know? So I decided to take Sundays off. And I just can't wait for Sundays, you know, after working 15 years in a row, almost 7 days a week. So,
What are the hard choices that you have to make based on how much money you make?
I think the tough one for me would be not being able to just support my family in Cuba, you know. Not being able to just go out with a girlfriend, you know, when I really want to. You know, I just wish I would be getting paid more. Now that they're gonna make it to 14, I think that is an improvement. I don't think that will solve any major problems in anybody's life, especially with prices going up.
A few tables away, I meet Peter Jakinis. Peter works for a temp agency, and he fell into debt a few years ago and had to declare bankruptcy.
I'm going through the organization.
Peter says he'd rather talk somewhere more private. What can you tell me about making minimum wage?
Well, you can live. Well, actually, you can exist, but you can't necessarily live, I would say. That's the best way to describe it. You need a little more to get by. It's tough. You have to really skimp on everything, clothes, food.
You said you can exist, but you don't live. What does that mean?
Well, you can exist, you can get by. You know, you can find ways to get by, but you don't have those extra things. You know, man does not live by bread alone. You know, you need recreation, you need entertainment and things like that. You need a little extras other than just making sure your bills are paid and your rent is paid and so on.
Right.
You know, why not go to a movie once in a while? Why not go to a ball game once in a while? I mean, is that too much to ask for someone who's putting in hours and no matter what they're doing for a living? Towards the end of the month, but, you know.
I get the feeling from Peter that he's more or less resigned to his situation. But back in the restaurant, I meet someone who's anything but. Kevin Johnson's 37. He's been to college. And still, he says the only work he can find pays minimum wage.
I work in a plant, and it's overnight.
Like a factory?
It's like a factory that makes boxes. And it's a very boring, very repetitive job. And I'm thinking, I just took a travel and tourism course. Why am I having to do this?
Tell me why you come here.
I come here just to save a little money, and so I can keep a roof over my head, first of all, and to keep my gym membership. Because without my gym membership, I would get very depressed. And so I want to keep that going.
What do you think people across the country don't understand about people who work at minimum wage?
What they don't understand is how tough it is, and how it's so difficult to budget your money. And like right now, I need to buy a few things. I need a warmer jacket first of all. Like this jacket is okay for milder winter days, but when it gets really cold, like when we had that cold snap, I was freezing in this thing. And I'm thinking, well, I can't afford to buy another jacket. And the problem is with this job that I have, I'm having to walk, taking the night bus as far west as I can, and then having to walk for an hour in the freezing cold because I cannot afford to take a cab to get home.
Tell me about the choices that you have to make.
I don't have many choices. It's either I eat some days or I don't. There are days that I go without eating. Like a couple of days last week, I just went to work, drank lots of water, didn't eat. Because I'm waiting for my next paycheck to come in.
What's it like to say that? You have a full-time job, you work hard.
And I have nothing to show for it? It's terrible, and it's embarrassing, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Once he's out on the street, you'd never know Kevin's situation, that he has a full-time job and he can barely make ends meet. I mean, that's the thing about poverty in Canada. It can sometimes be hard to spot. But one thing is certain, it includes people on minimum wage.
Sometimes I go for little walks on Friday, Saturday nights downtown, and I see other people, they're going out to restaurants and bars, having a nice dinner. Well, why can't I have that? What am I doing wrong? Because I'm struggling and being envious of what they're doing, wishing that I could do it. And you feel normal.